Let me show you what you're like.
Hey, hi everyone, welcome to Drusilla's. My name's Karen, I'm a keeper here at the park. And I've got Fia with me today who's going to be feeding the penguins while I tell you a bit about them. So we've got two types of penguin here at the park. The Humboldts, which are coming out and getting in the pool now. And we've also got two rockhoppers as well, who aren't out at the minute, but they might come out from the very top cave on the right hand side, if you want to keep an eye out. So the Humboldts come from the coast of Chile and Peru, which you might think is quite a warm place for penguins to come from. But they've got a number of ways of keeping themselves cool. You might be able to see on the penguins there, they've got a little pink patch just above their beaks. This is featherless and it helps them to regulate their temperature. Also, the Humboldt current runs alongside Chile and Peru, and it's an icy cold current, and they feed from this and swim in this, so that keeps them cool as well. So when they're feeding, they'll eat a range of fish, including sardines and anchovies, and sometimes crustaceans as well. Here we feed them solely on sprats, and we feed them kind of as much as they want to eat. So when they stop eating, we'll stop feeding them, basically. They've got a number of different types of swimming that they do when they're foraging for fish. The main type that they do is called porpoising, and this is when they go quite fast and they'll jump in and out of the water, which they're not doing now, but it just allows them to breathe efficiently while they're going quite fast. And they do this if they were hunting a large school of fish or fleeing from a predator. They usually hunt in small groups and just make short, shallow dives and feed within around 50-60 feet of the water surface. So they do go through an annual fasting period, and before this they'll build up a layer of fat to provide them with energy. And they'll do this while they're going through their nesting and breeding period. The penguins nest in small communities and sometimes scattered pairs. And they'll build their nests in natural caves and rock crevices, and sometimes on the land surface. And they build their nests from guano, which is actually their own feces. And they build up layers and layers of this because it makes very good nesting material for them. The penguins are monogamous, so they usually choose one mate for life. And breeding can occur all year round. Female usually lays 2 eggs, and the incubation period for these is around 40 days. And when they hatch, the chicks are relatively mobile and they've got a layer of soft, downy feathers. They are solely reliant on the parents for food, and the rearing period can be anything from 55 to 120 days. And this all depends on food availability. So usually one adult will go out and forage for food and bring it back to the nest while the other one stays with the chicks. And this goes on until the chicks are able to regulate their own temperature. And when they're able to do this, then both penguins can go out and forage together, both adults. So these guys are endangered. There are a number of threats to them, which include overfishing, so there's not enough fish to go around in the waters. The main threat to the Humboldts is actually for their guano, or their feces. So like I said earlier, it does make a very good nesting material for the penguins, but as well as this, it also makes a very good fertilizer. So farmers want to harvest it for their crops, and they'll take it from the penguins and from their nests. And obviously, if the farmers are taking the guano from the penguins, then they can't build their nests properly, and they can't go through the whole breeding properly.
Was it the penguin taking the guano? I don't think it was.
This is a breeding group of Humboldts that we've got here. However, this enclosure can't actually hold any more. So if you do get eggs, then they're taken out and replaced with fake eggs, so that the penguins can still carry on with all the incubation behaviour and everything. But the real eggs can go to other facilities to be incubated and hatched and reared there. So last year we had some eggs that went up to London Zoo, so those penguins are there now. You've got coppers, which haven't come out at all anyway, but they are also a breeding pair, but they're quite old now, so they're not laying fertile eggs anymore either. So you might wonder how we're able to tell all of these penguins apart from one another. We've got a number of different ways that we can do this. You're probably able to see that each of them has got tags on their flippers. And everyone's got a different colour combination, so see, one's got a red on its left there, and the other one's got yellow on its left. He's got two red armbands, and they've all got an individual colour combination, so we can tell who's who using that. They are all also microchipped, so if we needed to, we could scan them and tell who is who by doing that. And as well as this, all penguins have got an individual spot pattern on their front, so you can see on that penguin there, they've got a white front and they've got little black spots, so every penguin has their own individual one, so it's kind of like their own fingerprint. We've got pictures of all of them, so if we needed to, we could tell them apart by looking at them. And it's how conservationists in the wild would tell their penguins apart, because obviously they wouldn't be tagged or anything.
All my tags on.
Very enthusiastic feeding.
Phoebe.
So that does bring me to the end of the talk. If there's anything you'd like to know, I will be outside in just a second. I'll try my best to answer any questions. Just to let you know, the penguins here are up for adoption as well as all the other animals at the park. If you'd like to know any more about that, or if you'd be interested in coming to feed the penguins like Fia here is, or if you'd like to know anything about doing Keeper for the Day, all of the information on those things can be found at the Visitor Service Office, which is on your left as you exit. This is the last talk of the day, and the last train runs at 4:45 tonight, last time it's train. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at the park. And if you wouldn't mind giving Fia a big round of applause for feeding the penguins for me.
Thank you.